Welcome to I Should Say That Out Loud, the podcast where we celebrate honest voices, neurodivergent perspectives, and the beauty of being wired differently. I'm your host, Donna Brendel, and today we're stepping into the world of reclaimed materials. Enter the world, reclaimed materials. Look at that. Grant uses puzzle pieces for his artworks. Guest Grant Maniér here, a reclaimed materials artist whose work transforms forgotten objects into stunning, meaningful creations. Grant doesn't just see potential in what's been thrown away. He shows us how brokenness can become beauty and how form, function, and feeling can live in harmony. All right, he is a wonderful artist. We have one of his works right here behind us. He's going to tell you all about his art. But before we get into that, I just want to talk about how we met. We met at the Autism Conference in April for the Autism Society of Greater Wisconsin. And you had a beautiful display there, right in the main room.
That's right.
Yeah, and we stumbled upon your booth and checked out your artwork and had a conversation and have connected since then and tried to coordinate getting an interview together. And it turns out that today you are presenting at the Archipelago.
That's right.
For the it's a savant conference, and so I've squeezed in this interview in between his other interviews and then presenting tonight. It's a very exciting day. So thank you for taking time out of your very busy, important schedule so I can interview you and ask you some questions.
No problem.
So we met at the Autism Conference, and my podcast is about autism, and I kind of like to focus on autism first, and then we can roll into how that has framed your art world and your artwork. So how old were you when you either got diagnosed with autism or first understood for yourself that you were autistic?
I was told I was autistic at a very young age, but of course when I was a kid I didn't really understand much about it at the time. If you were asking me about that autism when I was a kid, I probably wouldn't be able to answer that very well. But I know one thing's for sure: I admit my autism has given me some challenges. Mostly through anxieties, a lot of stuff like loud noises specifically, and also black clouds and thunder gets me a little nervous, especially back then.
Okay.
I mean, even nowadays, I can still feel a little nervous when I see stuff like that, but it wasn't as bad as it used to be when I was a kid.
Okay.
So what you're seeing here today is a lot of years of working through my autism, making it better and better as time goes on, and make it my own, you see.
I love that. That's beautiful. And that's why I create my podcast, is to give other people hope who have been newly diagnosed or diagnosed for a long time, and they're kind of struggling about how do I figure out what life is all about.
That's right.
And I want them to have hope that they can find joy and pleasure in life.
There's always hope.
Yes, for sure. Thank you. You just mentioned a few things that give you anxiety, and I haven't even delved into your art yet, but I really want to ask this question so I don't forget it.
Sure.
Have you ever created any artwork based off of your anxieties, like a dark cloud image or anything like that?
That's a good question. I believe I have not that I can think of off the top of my head, but I do know is that working on my art is like a form of meditation.
Sure.
It's like it just makes me feel at ease, because when I'm working on art, I'm not thinking of anything else. Even if there's a lot of anxieties in the day, but if once I get into my art later in that day, like all those anxieties just suddenly go down.
That's beautiful. Okay, so let's talk about your art. Tell me how you go about creating your art.
What I do with my art, see, I don't work with paint. I work with paper materials like wallpaper, calendars, posters, even beads, jewelry, and what my signature mark, puzzle pieces. That's a lot of material that I have to find. It's not like working with paint where I can go to a store, get a paintbrush, get some paint, and do that. Working with paper takes a lot more time, and sometimes it takes a lot of precision to get into those very tight areas into a certain piece.
Sure.
Like the longest I've ever done to create a piece, this was only because I was still new at the time, working with paper.
Yeah.
It took me a year to create one piece one time that was the size of a door.
Wow.
Her name was Miss Judy the macaw.
Okay.
Still takes a lot of time to work with paper nowadays. Sometimes an art piece, depending how big it is, could take about a month, maybe 2 or 3.
Okay. Do you work on other pieces while you're working on a longer piece like that?
Actually, yes, I do. If I can't seem to continue on a certain piece, like I don't have the material I need at the moment, I will always go into the next piece to make sure everything keeps moving, and I can always come back to the other one when I have the material I need.
That makes sense. That's how I read books. I read a lot of books at one time because I can read a book all the way through, but I get bored and it doesn't hold my attention long enough, and I need like a new topic, and then I'll come back to that book, and then I need another new topic, so I'll go to another book. So sounds like you kind of do artwork in a similar way, that you kind of work on several pieces at once.
For the most part, yes. Okay. Sometimes it helps to do more than one at a time, so you're not always stuck on one.
Yeah. So I have a question about when you're gathering your materials. When you are like just cutting papers out or peeling, you peel the puzzle pieces off a lot of the time, right? And sometimes you use whole pieces, and sometimes
yes, for the most part, when I'm working with puzzle pieces, I always peel the print off the puzzle so they're nice and paper thin. In the beginning, it was hard to work with a thick piece because back then I didn't know much, but now I don't even have to peel off the puzzle sometimes. In fact, I can just place them on top of one another so that way they're layering. And in fact, I even taught the kids how to use that. See, I also work with kids of all ages. And back then, I would show them how to just use paper, but showing how to use puzzles was a little bit of a challenge because some kids aren't always going to sit there and, try to peel off every puzzle piece like I would.
Yeah, they don't have the patience.
They won't have the patience for that. But this method is much easier for them to understand.
Okay. Wonderful. I love that you teach other kids what you do. That's beautiful.
Right. And I could teach them virtually or in person.
Awesome. So when you're gathering your materials together, do you sometimes see a piece or several pieces and say, "Oh, I know what that's going to go in," or does it inspire something that you want to make while you're gathering?
It tends to inspire me, yes, if I see a certain piece, like what I want to make, for example, is a peacock, for example. And if I see a material outside where I live, when I go out to places, and I see that this material would look really good on a certain part of a piece, I'm like, ooh, that could work.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Sometimes it all depends on what you see, the texture of the paper as well.
Yeah.
Because sometimes paper have little texture to them, and that actually is very good to use.
Yeah, I would imagine. So do you organize them in such a way that you can go back to them when you are ready to put that piece into something?
Oh yes, we have all that paper organized.
Okay.
And all the puzzles that I've accumulated, and I say we because my mother is very instrumental in helping me organize all my materials as well.
Oh, that's wonderful.
We make sure that everything is right in the right color, from green, blue, yellow, red, etc.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I don't know if I could be as organized as that. I try to do some like embroidery, and like even just that little piece of of artwork is kind of scattered. So you said it's very therapeutic, and do you ever get upset while you're doing it, or do you ever get upset when you're not doing it and you're anxious to get to it because you know that's gonna help you calm down?
I wouldn't say upset to get to it, but I think I don't really get upset too much when I'm working on my art. The only thing I could probably, and it's not really majorly upset, it's like I don't have enough material, like I don't have enough to finish this, like, I don't have enough.
Yeah, just like any artist, right?
I know. Okay. But like I said, if I don't have enough for that one, I just push it aside for now and go back to that later.
That's great.
And work on my next one.
Is that a coping mechanism that you had to develop, learning not to get frustrated when you kind of hit roadblocks in your artwork?
I think that's something that we all have to eventually learn how to handle our frustrations in a way. What can we do to avoid that sort of thing? And this helps me.
Yeah, that's great. That's so true. Everybody can have frustrations and roadblocks, and we all need to learn how to push through those. That's so true. When other people view your work that's complete, that's already done, do you hope that they have certain feelings about it, or do you like to watch when they are looking at your artwork to see their reactions?
Oh, believe me, every time I finish an art piece and I display it for everyone to see at an art show, boy, it's always amazing to see how much they just love it. They can look at a piece even from afar and be like, wow. But the thing is, they don't always get that it's paper until I show them up close.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little tricky because if you were to look at this art piece from afar, you probably wouldn't know that this is just paper, not paint, until you go closer.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it's kind of like mini magic trick, huh?
In a way, yes.
Yeah. And you're just waiting for that punchline of when you tell them the secret, huh?
Yeah, and they were like, "What?"
That's awesome. I would love that too. I bet. Do you, when other people are looking at your artwork, do you kind of reminisce about the process it took to put that together?
At times I do, yes. Sometimes it could be a process, and sometimes there could be a little funny story that goes along with it. Like one time I was making my American bald eagle. I had to redo it again because when I first finished it, it looked like a parrot.
Oh no.
So I thankfully working with paper is much easier than working with paint because I can just come back over with more paper and keep tweaking it until it finally looks right.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. That reminds me of Bob Ross's saying, "Happy accidents." Do you have any sayings like that about your artwork?
Yeah, sometimes it's sometimes little accidents like that are always fun to see. Like here's one little funny little accident, and I didn't even know about this until later because I was working on Mount Rushmore, and I knew we were talking about collage art because that's what technically my art is, collage art. But when I was working on Mount Rushmore, I decided I want to call my art collages. And the funny thing is, which president commissioned Mount Rushmore? Do you know?
I only know because I heard you say it earlier today. I wouldn't have known otherwise, but it was President Coolidge.
Yeah, so how ironic. I didn't even know that until after I said collages. So, wow.
It's a fun play on words. I bet you have more like catchphrases than you realize. I don't know. Do you like have conversation in your head as you're doing your artwork? I know I have conversations in my head all the time.
Oh,
that's why my podcast is called.
Actually, I think that's natural.
Yeah, that's why my podcast is called I Should Say That Out Loud, because I say things and I feel like I'm participating in conversation, and then people looking at me like why aren't you saying anything? I'm like, oh yeah, I got to say it out loud.
I don't know about catchphrase specifically, but I do know there are some sayings that I like to tell people, messages mostly. Like, for example, the only puzzle here is my eco art. That's one message I like to give.
Do you want to explain that a little bit more?
Right, because you know how most parents don't like to classify their child with a puzzle piece. But that's not really the message I want to give to everyone. The only puzzle is my art because I use puzzles in my art as well.
Yeah, it's just a wonderful medium for you.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're all puzzles, no matter what. Typical, neurotypical, neurodivergent, we're all puzzle pieces. I mean, our brains are so complex. And we're just now learning so much about the brain in the past few decades that we're really skyrocketing in the neuroscience area. Any other catchphrases that came to your mind?
Well, like I said, not really much catchphrases as there are messages. Another message I'd like to say is autism does not define me. I define my autism through my talents and skills. Autism does not define me. I define my autism through my talents and skills.
That's beautiful. I love that. You sound like you have really gotten strong in your self-confidence and your just persona of who you are. Do you remember how that progressed? Do you remember not having that?
There was a time when, more in the beginning phases, I probably would not have been this confident, and I probably would need a lot more help when it comes to interviews. But it's kind of like, the more you expose yourself to something, the better you will get at it. Sure. So the more interviews I've done, the more shows I do, the more art I create, I always get better and better.
Yes, we're always an ongoing process, everybody, until our last day here on Earth. And I love that you're never going to be done growing, and you realize that. And your artwork has come such a long way, even the 2 peacock pieces that are on display that we're going to see tonight.
Yep, there is one I made back in 2012. That's the beginning. And now I made a new one recently, 2025. It's called Kaleidoscope, King of Rio.
Awesome. And I'm going to have the images of those on the screen.
Yeah, everyone's going to love seeing that one.
Yeah, so you can all see the progress and the beauty of your artwork. You are such a beacon of hope for all the other families out there who have children with autism, or adults who are autistic, who maybe haven't found their lane, their talents, or their confidence yet, but that it's never too late.
Yes, it's never too late to find your talent. Whether you're in a young age or an old age, there is always a talent laying dormant deep inside. All you have to do is just find it, and if you can't find it, you create one. Do what you feel like that feels good to you, what you like. Make a talent at that one.
And if it's in art, that's great, because when it comes to working with art, I know some good ways you can get your name out there too. Go to competitions, contests, get your art, your name out there. Don't forget to go to events and other things that get your name out there. But also a portfolio also helps as well. Put your art in there, put your messages in there, your information you can share with people.
That's great. How did you realize that art gave you so much joy? Do you remember what that felt like all those years ago?
I've always just loved art ever since I was a little kid.
Okay.
No matter how much time passes, I always just loved art.
Okay.
That's one thing I could say.
Yeah.
Of course, back then I couldn't do what I can today, but
Sure.
I did learn a lot back then, and now look where it's led me today.
Yeah. Yeah. And you mentioned your mom. I do have to give her credit for recognizing that you enjoyed art so much and for encouraging you and nurturing you in that.
Yeah, so I give my mom a lot of credit, because I would not be who I am today without her.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we need, again, whether you have autism or not, we need all the support we can get in life.
That's
Everybody does. It takes a village to raise a child, but I think even as an adult, we need support. And when you have family and other support people around you who understand you and understand what gives you joy and just encourages you in that, how beautiful that is.
That's right.
Yeah. Have you ever been a perfectionist?
A perfectionist?
Yeah.
Well, I do have my moments from time to time.
Okay.
Unless I want it to look just right. I'm trying to get it to look just right. So I can say yes, but just to a certain level. At some point, I would say, yeah, you know what, this is good. This is fine. Just go with it.
Okay. So you have perfectionistic tendencies.
Oh, who doesn't?
Okay. I definitely do. How did you start to let go of that?
Well, it takes time to let go of something like that, and sometimes it's still kind of there in a way, but to a certain point, you have to just let it be, not let it be so high up on your meter list of gotta be this perfect. It's okay. It's all right.
Yeah. How do you see yourself as an artist? Do you see yourself as storyteller, healer, we say, like a prophetic voice, or a communicator?
I definitely am someone who, through my art and telling a message, that even though I have autism, I can still do amazing things, create amazing art as well. And you can see art behind me. And this is not just something that I can do. Anyone can do this, whether it's art or music or anything that catches your interest. Anyone can do this sort of thing as well.
You just answered my question. I don't think you realized it, but you answered my question, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I think you're a motivator through your artwork.
Well, I do like to motivate people from time to time.
You teach other people?
That's right.
Yeah.
Like I said, I teach kids of all ages, no matter how old you are, how young you are. You can still learn how to create art the way that I do. Yeah. And by working with paper, you actually help reduce the landfills. And that's something I like to promote, is environmental responsibility. Turn trash into treasure.
Sure, that's beautiful. So you're also what's a good word for that? Well, you're an eco-artist.
Mm-hmm.
You're a motivational artist. You're just a motivational person.
Public speaker.
Public speaker. You and your mom make books together. So you do tell stories with your art through the books. Your mom writes them, correct? And
yes.
You do the illustrating?
Yes, I'm the illustrator of our books, and my mom is the author.
So you tell all sorts of stories. I know there's a bunch of books out there, and you keep getting requests for more, I hear.
Yes, there's always a story to tell. Like recently, we are working on our newest book for Grant Maniér and Friends. It's about a cat with no tail named Elliot. So it's employment disability.
That's a really big topic.
There are other topics that have been showcased as well, like dyslexia. Yeah. That's one thing. We also wrote a book about the time of COVID, so pandemic. And of course, we also wrote about childhood cancer as well. And we do have some other ideas in the works as well. But right now, Elliot is going to be our next one. Here's a little funny story I can tell because we actually have a tailless cat named Elliot.
I know.
Inspiration.
Yeah, so he's a family member because pets are family, and you're able to put him into your books now, so he will live on forever, and he'll be introduced to the hearts of lots of other families out there.
Yes, he is a very big cat,
And
very friendly too.
He can tell a great story and encourage and help other people who struggle with disabilities to get jobs and be heard for what accommodations they need in their workplace, I would imagine. Employment.
Right. The next book is about disability employment.
Yeah.
That even though you may have a challenge, it's still possible for you to get an employment, to get a job, and that's what we want to. That's the message we want to convey to people.
That's awesome. I just love how you're able to utilize your art to tell so many different stories, and that they're all so poignant and meaningful to so many different people. And we also both discovered today that we're both cancer survivors.
Oh.
So that's really cool. It's a tough journey to go through for anyone.
It can be.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not fully aware of what there. Sometimes it's not always as bad as one would think. I was one of the fortunate ones, but that doesn't mean I won't say that for everyone who's going to go through cancer.
Well, and the fear of the unknown, I think, is the hardest part because there's so many new things to go through when you're going through cancer.
Right. I didn't know what to fully expect. Yeah. I only heard the things I've heard on the internet and from other stories of what people have gone through with cancer. So it was a little hard. I did have my moment of doubt, like maybe they're wrong or something like that. But in the end, they were right. So I pulled through and I got through my chemo treatment, and now I am cancer free.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I know that thank you very much. I am cancer free as well for over 10 years. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
But I know that you're a very positive person, and so is your mom. And that staying positive was truly a very big part of you recovering and being here with us today.
That's right.
So finding joy can be hard for a lot of people, but if you can find it wherever you can, do it. And I would say even if you get negative feedback from certain people for whatever reason, because that happens, still seek after that joy, because only we know what brings us joy. Other people can't dictate to us what brings us joy.
Actually, yeah, but
have you ever experienced that negative feedback about what you do?
I mean, no matter what you do, you're always going to have someone that's going to have a negative comment, but sometimes you just got to let that be and just keep going, just focus on the positive.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have been doing that, and like I said, you're a beacon of hope and joy for lots of people out there.
Thank you.
I'm just so excited to have you here as a guest to learn more about you and allow the world to see your joy and your beautiful artwork. Well, I think also talking about getting negative feedback is very similar to bullying. Did you ever experience being bullied when you were younger?
I have. When I was younger, there were times where mostly a lot of verbal stuff were said to me that that hurt my feelings. And but when you were going through autism at the time, you look different to some of these other kids, and they won't always understand, but they'll still call you names. They'll pick on you, tell you don't belong. But look where I am now. I did not let that stop me. I became who I am today because I didn't let that hold me down. I just kept moving forward.
Good for you. Go. And how did you process that when you were younger? Do you remember, what helped you to stay strong and keep going forward?
Well, for one, I would homeschool after a certain point, so that did help to get away from all of that. Okay. That did help, but that didn't always solve the problem. But really, it just takes time, and as you grow up, it doesn't hurt as much as it did back then. It's just how sometimes your mental state when you're younger is it can get hurt a little more.
Yeah, more fragile.
Yes.
Yeah. You are a very busy man with all of your artwork, and you're going to school as well. Lots of business pursuits. Tell me about now and in the past about your friendships and social life.
My friendships and social life. Like I said, because of my art, I've been able to get out and see places. I've been traveling to different states, Texas, California, Colorado, here in Wisconsin, going out and meeting people in places. So I'm always meeting someone new, interacting with people, because through my art, I engage with a lot of people at shows, galas, and conferences. Sure. That is one thing. And of course, my friends are at times involved as well. Okay. And even outside of working with the art and the business, I still retain my friendships with some of my friends. Of course, I have employment at the Perfect Studios. There, they are helping me learn more about the entertainment and multimedia. But I work inventory over there, and I gotten to know everybody at the studios so well. They are very close to me. Now they're training me to be a game master for the Pathfinder Club.
Wow, that's exciting.
It is.
I bet you'll make a lot more friends through that as well, huh?
Of course.
It's a big industry and a big interest nowadays.
Of course. Yeah.
How do you manage all of the things that you're doing?
I try my best. Of course, I have an amazing mother that helps me out with that too. So once again, I am very thankful to her.
Do you ever get overwhelmed and just need to just take a break and rest?
Every once in a while, I do get. It does get a little overwhelming, tiring. So every once in a while, I just need a little space and recharge myself, and then I'm going back at it again.
Sure, that's great. You think that art can be a type of language that you use to communicate your feelings or emotions or between people?
Can be a way to express one's emotions through the art. When it comes to working with my art, there is a way to showcase my feelings through it as well. Some art can be very colorful. Some art can be a little not as colorful. So through my art as a language, when I'm working on my art, I always feel relaxed, happy, and just stress-free, because working with my art is a way to relieve all of that stress of the day or any anxieties I might have. So when people look at my art, that's what I want them to feel. Happy.
Yeah. And I did feel that when I was looking at your art today. So many beautiful bright colors, and even the jewels that you started to incorporate in some of your works.
Mm-hmm.
Even like the dragon was still joyful. I've been focusing on one word this year throughout my series of podcasts, and that word is project. And there's many definitions for the word project, but the one I want to focus on here with Grant is to extend outward beyond something else or to protrude. So Grant definitely extends himself outward to the world through his art in a most beautiful way. And I have my little object lesson here. And this is, something to help project our voices out into a room so that other people can hear us. But Grant beautifully uses his artwork to project his feelings, his emotions, and his joy to the world. And he's such a hope and an inspiration to so many people out there. And he does classes and lessons for children of all ages to teach them how to do what he does. And I just want to thank you so much, Grant, for doing what you do and for talking to me today and talking to lots of people today. And I know it takes a lot of energy, so thank you for that. And where can people find you?
You can always find me under any social media page under Jigsaw Grant, or if you want to find more about my art and the things that I do, just go to my website, Jigsaw, like a puzzle, jigsawgrant.com.
Awesome. So check him out. Look on his social. Can they purchase your artwork on there?
Yes, you can. You can purchase my art on my website as well.
Awesome. So do you sell originals and copies or one or the other?
I sell both, but mostly we sell a lot of reprints.
Okay. Awesome. So check it out, because I'm sure he has something that will fit into your genre with lots of beautiful color and joy, and you can bring that into your home. So thank you again, Grant, and I know we'll be in touch again.
Well, thank you for the opportunity.
You're welcome.